Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day. And today I want to talk about a few things. Number one, somebody asked me why there's so many things in twos in this world. Like on and off, light and dark, two sides of a coin, so on and so forth. And if you think about it, there are a lot of those two things in this world and universe. Okay? And what's going on there is that's an illusion. There is no two things. There's no light and dark. There's the sun and there's the shadow. Okay? Which is part of the sun. You can't have the shadow without the sun. And you can't have the sun without the shadow. The switch on and off, you can't have on without off. Off does not exist without on. First, you have to have it on before you can have it off. And secondly, off cannot exist without on. So anyway, these things that we think of as two are really one. Okay? And if you look at any media, there's always somebody talking, but behind them there's a background. You can't have a background without somebody in the front, the foreground. You have to have a foreground and a background. Okay? They exist with each other, just like a wave and a trough. You can't have a wave without a trough, and you can't have a wave without a crest. It just doesn't exist. It has to be there. That's true for all electromagnetic waves and for water waves. Okay? These things that we think are two are really just one. Okay? Because that's the way our minds work. And that's just the way they work. Period. Okay, and so in that way, that is one of the things that traps us. Okay, this thinking that there's two. What your brain does, I'm not really sure it's your brain or your mind or your ego, but what happens is that you turn yourself into an object. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but I don't do that. But that's what happens. And then you start turning other people into objects too. Okay? For instance, labels. Labels turn people into objects. Okay? When you say somebody's a lawyer or a doctor, okay, then that's all they are. They're just a lawyer and a doctor, regardless of what else they may be. Okay? If you say somebody's a homeless bum, a good for nothing, then that's going to do the same thing. It's going to turn them into an object and diminish them. And I mean, we do this all the time. Look at Israel and Palestine. The Israelis have turned the Palestinians into animals. Okay? Just the way the Jews were turned into animals by the Hitlerites. Okay? I mean, it's the same thing that's being done. It's really sick. But the thing is that's, just the way people are. We turn people into objects. Okay? Lust. In order to have sex with somebody, sometimes people have to be turned into objects. Why? Because we're not capable of being intimate. And why aren't we capable of being intimate? Because fear. I know that's crazy too, isn't it? But it's true. Okay? And that's why we turn people into objects. Okay? If you can pigeonhole somebody, then there's nothing to fear. Because that's what they are. Okay? But when you can't pigeonhole somebody, like, say, Jesus Christ, then you want to kill them. Right? Because you can't pigeonhole him. Okay? You don't know what he is, and you don't know what he'll do. Okay? And that's why people get killed. And that's why the Israelites, or the Israelis, sorry about that, have pigeonholed the poor Palestinians as animals. Because that's the only way that they could kill them. Because the humanity that's in them, okay, is not going to allow them to kill other people. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But it will allow them to kill animals. Okay? That's why the Jews were killed, because they were turned into animals. Worthless animals. That's just the way it was. Okay? And that's being done now by the Jews for the Palestinians. And it's happening all over this world because that's the way we are. And if you get this idea that you are an object out of your mind, you'll be a little more freer. For instance, okay, you're not a lawyer, you're not a doctor, you're not a checkout girl, you're not anything else either, okay? You are a soul. If you say that you're something that's not you, then you're treating yourself like an object, okay? Simple as that. Okay, I mean, when we're looking at the world, we try to be as accurate as we can, and we try to name everything we can possibly name, right? That's the way we do it, and that's what our humanness does, okay? Oh, that's an oak tree. Oh, that's a pine tree. Oh, that's a garbage tree. Which there's no such thing, because all trees have as much life in them as you do. But anyway, the point here is that turning yourself or other people into an object is bad. Okay? It's bad for you. It's bad for other people. I guess there's nothing else I can say beyond that. So, try and understand that you are not a teacher or a mother or a father or a fucking whatever you think you are. Okay? You are a soul. So therefore, you cannot be turned into an object by anyone. Okay? Unless you allow it. Which we do all the time. You know, I have an itch and I want you to scratch it. You have one I want to scratch too. So that's it. And that turns the other person into an object because you don't look at them like a human being. You look at them as a toy. So that's just one way that we use dualism to hurt other people. Okay? We are not objects, we are souls. Okay? But we have this idea in our mind that we are an object. Okay? Because we've been told that we are since the beginning of time. Okay? By everybody. Okay? You're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're this, you're that. Okay? And when we go out and interact with people, we say, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. Okay? Which is, it's fine to be a doctor or a lawyer, but not to make it a part of who you are. You know? I mean, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad about what they do for a living. Obviously, everyone has to do what they have to do. But try not to make something that turns you into an object. Okay? Try to remember who you are. This whole freedom stuff, okay, which I've been trying to get people to understand, is really hard to get sometimes, okay? Because our minds and our egos have been, you know, doing stuff to us since birth, okay? I mean, since the beginning of reason, let's say, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you can speak stuff, right? And that's what it does. That's what the brain does. It helps the people that you count on, your parents, to socialize you. It uses a code, just like a computer. Okay? And if you break the code, then there's consequences. Okay? And waking up is breaking the code. Okay? And we have to break the code. We cannot allow the code to continue on because it's just keeping us down. Okay? So society is set up in order to keep everything under control. Okay? And when anyone breaks the code, okay, like say Jesus or, you know, I can name lots of people, then they are set upon by society. Okay? And I mean, there's lots of you know, people I could mention, but I'm not going to. So we have to accept what is, and that is that breaking the code is not easy, and it certainly isn't something we want to let everyone in the world know about that we're doing. But we can break the code within ourselves and end the suffering by accepting what is. Okay? So, try not to turn other people into animals. Okay? It's really easy not to do that. Okay? But once you do that, then you have made them into something that's just nothing. Okay? And this is what, Emperor Netanyahu has done. Sorry, I don't know why I call him Emperor. First Minister Netanyahu has done. Okay? And he's instructed his soldiers, hey, these people are nothing but animals. Kill them. And that's what they're doing. It's just not good. So, try to remember what we are here for. We're not here to have a fast car. We're not here to have a big house. We're not here to have all that stuff. We're here to awaken. We're here to raise our level of consciousness. And everyone should be able to do that. We have to let go of these things like society, okay? Because we have been societized, okay? Controlled by society, okay? And, what happens when that gets broken? Well, people die, okay? So, we have to break the code that's controlling us, okay? By accepting what is. Obviously, you don't go out and tell everybody that you've broken the code, how to break the code themselves, because then people start to become afraid of you. And that's what happened. I mean, not now, but in the past, that's what happened. Okay? So, this is just what it's all about. Okay? You are not an object, okay? And no one else is an object either. But when you have been turned into an object, then you are suffering under duality. Because that's not what you are. You're a soul. But you think you're an object. And that's the problem, I guess you could say. Alright, well, I guess that's all I have to say about this topic. I love you all because you're me. We're all one. There's no difference between me and you or between anyone on this planet or in this universe for that matter. Because we are all part of the source. We are all part of God. And if you wish to have contact with God, then you need to wake up. Alright, well, have a great life.